Vice Mayor.
Thanks, Mayor. Jorge, I wanted to ask the chief a question, if that's okay. I thought actually we were going to hear from the chief tonight, so I was a little bit confused. Yes. Hi. Sorry, I thought you were going to present too. I mean, I knew we were going to hear from Jorge, but I thought we would hear from you as well. And my comments were actually for you, as I spoke with you a little bit during the audit committee. First of all, I'm a little bit concerned by City Manager Shirey saying 30 days, because is that enough to come back with I just want to make sure that what you come back with is something that we can actually implement and move forward with. And I know you have a lot of outside partners you need to work with, like fire from other areas and who all ever else. So can you bring us back the type of report that you need in a 30-day span, or would something a little bit longer help, or how, what do you think?
Well, we were looking at, before I also start, I also want to thank the auditor and his staff, because going through this was a tough process, and it had a lot of give and take. And even after we finished this process, their office was still helping us as we were trying to get our arms around some of the issues. So I want to thank them for that. Now, as far as the time frame goes, when we were looking at this, what we really wanted to do was to make sure two things happened. And one of those is that we were able to come back in a timely fashion to the City Council with a plan that was in place that was solid. When we started looking at it, we originally thought we could do it probably 30 days pretty easily. When we started bringing in the other entities, because we really have to depend on a lot of IT help, we're going to depend on a lot of revenue help. And we also brought CDD into this because they have gone through something like this before, and they've been invaluable as giving us some ideas on some of the time frames. And we were looking at between a 30 and 60-day window. However, what we do want to make sure is that we stay timely. And so if we're looking at 30 days, we got to figure out a way to do that. But it's a lot of moving parts into this, and that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Maybe we can give them 30 to 60 days so that people don't, if they can get back in 30, that's great, and if they need more time, they don't feel like we've blown a deadline, so that they make sure that what they bring us back is solid. Because I think what would be a mistake, I mean, obviously we have some findings here that we definitely need to address, some areas in the fire department that need to be taken care of, and 3 in particular, right?
3, yes.
And so I'm sure some of it has to do with being cut for 5 years straight. And I want to be sure that you have time to be able to give us a full report back, like we discussed at the audit committee, that allows us to take action and not just have to wait another time for you to come back again and drag it out.
This is something that I really don't want to drag out. I want this to move as quickly as possible. So I really wanted to make that effort to get this back to you, as soon as possible, that we could possibly do it in 30 days or a little bit longer. I know we'd have a better product. I think we'd have a more complete product, and I was concerned that we would do that. And I really believe that it's kind of cut in 2 parts. The SOG piece of it and the revenue handling piece of it, it's probably can be done a little bit quicker, but I was really concerned about the computer piece of it, the IT piece of it. I think it's going to be really complicated and multi-layered. So, but if we could get enough help on it.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to make a motion for approving the audit and then asking for a report back in 30 to 60 days from the chief and his team, if that pleases my colleagues.
Yeah. I just want to make the point that the chief works for me.
That's right. Thank you.
I work for you.
I'm not sure I quite understand your point.
The chief does not work for the city council and can't take direction from the city council. I do. My pledge is we're going to have a work plan done in 30 days. And I'll report to the city council on how we're going to follow up to get it done.
Okay, well, as one of 8 or 9 of your bosses, then what I would say, because I think that's I don't know, feel like that's a fairly inappropriate response from my perspective. I don't think it's too, first of all, you asked for 30 days. I said 30 to 60, so that's within still the range for you to go back and apply whatever pressure you want. And I don't think it's unreasonable to ask a fire captain and a fire department that's been cut for 5 years straight to pull together solutions on all of their standard operating procedures, all their IT, and their fire prevention in 30 days. If they can do it, great. If they can't, I don't want them to feel punished. So I feel really strongly about it, City Manager Shirey, and if you felt strongly about it, then maybe you could have come and met with me prior to this and let me know that. But as far as I can tell, from my constituency, the folks that I represent, and in my position, I don't think it's unreasonable to give them 30 to 60 days, and I think it's a fairly ridiculous conversation, actually.
My point is that there's 30 people there. There's 30 people in that division. That's enough people to put together a work plan for how it is that we're going to address all of the issues that are in this audit. Okay?
I don't think he's got 30 people working. I thought there was a strategic committee. Is there not a committee?
What we were planning on doing is having 4 people that we actually pulled out and taking them off their duties to look full-time at this. Not, trying to have them do part of their duties and still work on this. What we can do, though, probably to hasten that time frame, is maybe look at some other options. And one of the other options would maybe having a consultant come in and help us as we go through this. But, that we plan on having 4 people working this full time and going from there. We still want to get our everyday work done, what we need to do every day. And I think with those 4 people focused on it, plus having the help that we're going to be getting from IT and help we're going to be getting from revenue, we can move this thing forward.
I appreciate your efforts, Chief, and I hope that my colleagues will see reasonable to give you an appropriate amount of time to come back to us.
Councilmember Cone.
Thank you. This audit actually came out in August, and I think the preliminary data came out before that. So we're not talking about 30 days from today. That my understanding is you've been working on it for quite some time. But more to the point, I think we should defer to our city manager in terms of the appropriate timing. I agree with the city manager that the findings here were very serious. And urgency is required, and I'm sure our fire chief will be working with our city manager and the other departments in a timely manner, and I too want to see something. I was actually hoping, if you'll recall from our audit committee, we were expecting a report back today with at least some kind of action plan. I'm actually disappointed that we didn't see some today, so I'm not going to argue over 30 days. I think we need to see something very soon. If the city manager says 30 days, I think we should go along with that.
Councilmember Sheedy.
Yes, when I seconded that, I was seconding the issue, the agenda item. I was no way usurping your authority. In fact, I wasn't even thinking of the chief directly. So I do want to say you do have that authority, and I would never take that I would never take that away. So I apologize for doing that, and I will be more attuned to that in the future. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment. I felt what the council member asked was to broaden it slightly, going from 30 to 60 days. If that wasn't acceptable or appropriate, then I think a discussion would be normal. The way you kind of flaunted by saying, I am in charge of the fire chief. I felt that was a little extreme in my opinion, so I just want to note that for the record. I feel like if we can't, as elected bodies, have an opinion or ask to broaden, again, I think what the vice mayor said is keep the 30 days in there. Is there a way to go to 60 days? I felt there was a very appropriate way that could have been responded to, and I didn't think that was appropriate.